fault on Ash clicking on nail. What I've managed to do since last video is get this adjusting, right? Now, I know on my own Ferguson 20s, when there was this kind of a setup on it, when I bought it, it rattled like feck. You wouldn't believe. I was actually wondering what was going on. It was just this was loose. So I'm after putting a washer in behind, a little rubber washer there. And I'm going to do, what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to use a lock nut. I'll put another washer then and a lock nut. That means when this is tightened up, it'll stay there. It won't jam, won't make this whole rod, you know, too stiff. But it'll push that up, and the top of the throttle rod on the dash then will be rubbing against this, and that'll take the vibration out of it, just in case that is an issue. And it was a little bit kind of loose, so I was thinking of putting a bit of heat shrink over it there, but I was like, you know what, that's a bit overkill. We'll just go with this. We have it adjusted. So adjusting, I should say, I'll be able to finish the adjustment on the tractor itself. So I'll have to just lower the camera here and we'll just fit this. So it might be a little bit hard for you to see what's going on, but look, I'll try my best. So this will be a far improved setup, right? So fish are in through down to the throttle venturi. Twisting the stuff needed here just to get it down into the, yeah, it's going to be 10 times better. Pull that back fully and see where we're at here. Now we're far more directly across from where we need to be. So we'll be able to put on our washer. It'll be a little bit awkward in here, especially when this is a lock nut. It can be so hard just to get the first thread now started. So I need to sit the end of the throttle rod up on something here, sit on the venturi just to keep it down and steady, so I can get in with my nut. God, it's tight enough, eh? Yeah, there's going to be a bit of that going on, I think, now, for a while. Now, where's that nut gone? There's plenty more than there if I need, but yeah, I'll just have a look for that and come back. Take two. Just as well I can keep that throttle rod steady, because I can tell you one thing, it wouldn't be easy me pushing up against it and it coming out. I always find these small lock nuts a little fecker to get on. And of course this wasn't cut level. This bit of thread rod wasn't cut level at all. My hands are greasy. So I think the best thing for me to do is keep going here. I can't see what I'm doing, I can only feel. And I'll come back when I have that threaded on. Right, there we go. I actually managed to see what I was doing. I see how crooked I was trying to fit it in. But this lock nut now is going to make a massive improvement to this end of things. Once I can thread it on enough that the threads come through the actual nylon ring at the end, you should be, I don't like the hand throttle to be flapping around the place, you know. I like it to be firm, like. I like to be able to give it a little pull and to hear the engine revving up a little bit, let it off and to hear, you know, not for things to be loose and rattling. So that's the lock nut is going to help us there. Okay, I could have pushed things up a little bit too far with that extra washer. That's the only thing I'll say. I don't know till I have a feel around it. yeah, so there's going to be a bit of mess involved with this. I think that's going to be unavoidable. A little bit of messing involved with this. Just to get things the right length and all of that. Like, this isn't, every tractor's different. Find, so for ticking over, this needs to be there, and that's too short because it won't come any further because it's pushed up too far with my washer. So I have to put a thinner washer on, but that's no matter. I'll swap that out. So what I'm going to do, swap the rubber washer from the top to the bottom. Once this is held fairly steady against the bottom, isn't it going to do the same thing as it is on the top? Of course it is. Right. So do the same thing, just wedge this up there, might just hold things a little steadier. This washing there will nearly actually, I'd say maybe tread up there. Okay. So I'll give it a go with the greatest amount of space. There we go. Okay, that should do the same thing. Once we have a bit of rubber involved there now, it should smoothen things up a bit. Now I know fairly soon now when I go to throttle this off if that rod is too high or not. So I'll get that out of the way. Okay, so where are we now? Inside here we're on full throttle, so we'll bring it back to tick over and see where we have to be. We're still off. Okay, so I might have to swap this throttle rod upside down. Should be fun, trying to get that nut on. It'll be fun. It is important that we can get tick over. From a safety point of view as well, if you do have to stop, at least you have a bit of engine braking. But then again, I've fairly shortened this in the vise, so it might get away with lengthening it and seeing how things feel. This is just the trial and error of the whole thing. At least we are able to lengthen it now and shorten. So pull our throttle forward there to tick over position. See how much adjustment, we have plenty of adjustment there. Plenty of adjustment. And we're locking it then to hold everything in place. Okay. That's no problem. So yeah, I have a feeling we're going to be able to work this with a bit of bending here and there and clearing things. What's happening is it's just catching. Where can we see? The lighting isn't great. It's just catching there. So I might have to do a little bit of bending to get it right, but I have a feeling we will win it. Missing off the back of the Venturi is this lad here. So we'll have to thread him in. There. Okay, it's going in lovely there. These can be a ball ache to put on, but sometimes I never really worked out what size these are. Are they 11/30 seconds or something? They're a real strange size. And then when they get worn and rusty and all of that, it's any man's guess what will work on them. Sometimes an 8mm works, sometimes a 9mm works. And they can be really, really hard to take off as well, even though they're coarse thread. So I'll get in as much as I can then, and I'll just try and put some sort of pliers on it, because it does slip on a few sides of it now, I've noticed. You can't buy these new, I don't think, so we have to try and make do with what we have. But once this goes on here, it shouldn't be coming off again for a very, very long time, please God. And I like to leave that sticking out a little bit, because it means this is a bit more room then for messing, for putting it on. So, okay, now I'm going to try and get a pick in there, and hopefully we'll be able to get that into position. It'll be a bit of fun. Often is a bit of fun. Other times you can be lucky. The most important thing is the spring in this is free. So bring that forward so where we can get in it. Some people use cable ties and all of that. If I have to, what I'll do is I'll put the lock nut on it to stop it twisting. Sometimes you can, I often was on my wit's end trying to get these on. Other times then, they just clip on straight away. I might get a hammer at that and just give it a tap. Might just be lucky. It's already sitting on it. There we go. Yeah, beaut. There we go. Okay, that is looking good. So we can just run back our lock nut here, back onto there. I think it was the Ford tractors at the time had this great little setup, similar, but all you did was you pulled this part out and it opened up the slot onto your little kind of a nipple lad, and you let go of it and the spring pulled it back over it. I mean, I know the Ferguson Major we have at home is the same as the throttle rods. You just pull the end and it opened up over the little ball and away you went. Job oxo. None of this faffing about. It's getting harder and harder to come across these original throttles. Okay, and that's, you can see there, she is right up against tick over, and I can feel the butterfly there is closed. And then so we'll see how much that actually revs. I have a feeling it's going to need another bit of an adjustment. It's not really, oh yeah, because that's hitting there, isn't it? That's why. It's hitting the back of that. That's why she's not going as far as she should. But the most important thing of all is that we're in the fully closed position there for tick over, right? That's the most important thing. As far as full revs, that's not going to give much, not going to give near full revs. So we'll have to just do a little bit of messing with that. So I might have to take that off again and shorten it a little bit. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. I might have to do a little bit of reforming there, but we are going to get there. It's right up there, and our throttle, you know, can move a lot. There's loads of space for it to move forward, but there's not as much to move back. That's just not going to give enough revs. That's okay. So let's have a play around with that and see if we can improve that. Welcome back. So yesterday's video was putting on these after I cleaned everything up, and I started messing them with this throttle rod here that has to go on here. It has to be adjusted right so that when we have that pulled back we're getting full throttle, and when we have that all the way over forward we have tick over. So what I've realized is when I shorten this, right, the threaded rod is going in there and it's starting to push on the spring in there. You can just see it, and it's pushing that kind of half moon kind of ball shaped lad up, the cup shaped lad up more so, and it's giving less space for there. So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put it in the vise, because I should really free up. There's a little threaded kind of a lad in the end of that, right? We'll see now in a minute what I'm talking about. So I'm going to try and take him out again, free him up, right? Put him into the vise, and what I want to take out, I'll try and get the camera to focus, is that lad there. I have to loosen him anyway. He's another half, kind of a cup shape, and that's what keeps the ball in. So if I can loosen him, I should be able to get that on a lot easier. So yeah, that's the crack. So we'll get it into the vise and we'll see how we get on with taking him out. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda when it comes to freeing these lads up, as always, is to get some of the penetrating oil onto them ASAP. I don't find WD-40 as good as the GT7 stuff. This stuff seems to be better at getting stuff off. WD-40 is probably better for lubricating things. And I find this stuff is just fast acting. So yeah, I have to hold just that bit in the vise. It's okay. And hopefully now this will come out. Yeah, it's starting to move there. I just need to loosen this a little bit, and it'll make things go in a lot handier, and I should be able to then tighten it back in. Ah, Jesus Christ, that's tight. I've got to loosen a bit. Might have to just give that a quick tap. I don't want the end of it, the flathead slot, start breaking up on me too much. Start to hop out a little bit there. Let's try it back in. Yeah, it's going back in lovely. In really well. Okay. And it comes out to a certain point and it starts saying, no, I don't want to go any further. Okay. I suppose you're not really able to see what's going on there. So there we go. Right, so we can get it to screw in a bit, and that's the last thing we want to do. So we're going to make the amount of space in there smaller for the throttle linkage to go in. So that's coming out so far and it's getting solid. So that's what we'll do. We'll just leave it there. This lad inside is getting a little bit kind of pokey outy. I don't like the look of that, but it should be fine once it goes down. But as I was saying, the more you shorten this, the more this goes in there and the more it pushes up on that bloody spring, so it doesn't allow it to go back as far. And that's where you need to get the end loosened out a bit so that you can increase the space in there. But again, as I said, the Fordsons and the Fords of this period, of this era, and even earlier, had a far better job. You literally slid this was actually on a spring. It actually slid forward, it opened up that space in there, and you let go of it and it clicked back and it caught the ball. So that was a way better system. This is an awful lot of parts in it, like, considering all it's actually doing, and an awful lot of parts. Okay, I'll try and lift up the camera a bit more. This is going to be, it's going to be hard for you to see exactly what I'm doing because there's going to be hands everywhere, but look, I'm sure you have the idea. Ironically, yesterday evening when I was having a mess with this, I think even on video, I managed to get it to clip on no problem at all. And now this evening I've tried it a good few times. So I need to get that lock nut down there first. Tried it a few times this evening and it's just not cooperating. And that's because I have had to shorten it. Because otherwise it wouldn't have been revving out enough. I'm shortening it, I'm just tensioning up that spring and I'm decreasing the amount of space in there to take. What I'm looking to take, if someone hadn't seen yesterday's video, is this lad. So that's what's happening there. I'll try get the camera to focus roughly down there. Probably not going to see a whole lot, only me struggling here for a while. But that is just not pushing back enough to take this. There's no way that is going to go in there because I've shortened it, but I need to shorten it. And that was one complaint that this man had, was that the throttle is just a bit so-so. Now there is another option I can do. I can just put this on, take out the rod, just put this on there and try and thread it in. I'm only thinking that now, but I'm fairly sure, then the problem I'm going to have is I won't be able to bloody twist this to thread it back on because I don't have the space. Yeah, I won't be able to twist that, I don't think, unless I can push that forward enough. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to take this off. What that'll do is stop pushing down on that bloody thing. So we'll go back to the vice here. Thinking on the hop as usual. Thinking on the hop. Now we'll just see how far this actually is threaded in. Yeah, it's in fairly far, right? Definitely will be pushing up that spring. Let's get the pick now to make sure I am right in saying that. I just want to push that up and see, do I feel a spring? Yeah, I do, yeah. So we'll try and bring in the camera a bit closer. Right, so there's the whole lad there. When I put my pick in under here, it's actually, I can feel the spring. So that's what's going on there, right? So, my theory on it now is that this might be easier to put on with that out and not pushing up the spring. Now there is another way around this. I can take off this little lad here as well if I have to. I can take off him if I have to. Actually the inside one, what am I doing? Let's try and get it in frame there. You probably just about see it just there, right? That's just a little shiny bit of round metal. Definitely feels like it'll go on. It feels like it could go on. There you go. So that was it. That's what you do with these when you can't have them on, right? So we're learning. There's a top tip. There is a top tip. And now while we have it, we'll get a screwdriver. And we can tighten that back down, right? So that's going to make sure that that is going to stay there now after we've clicked it on. So we'll have to hold that, I suppose. They're lovely parts, it's just you do have to keep the patience, have to keep the head. And it's after fucking would you believe, turned and clicked off. That's okay. At least we know. At least we know it will go on easy. Should have had a better grip on it. Okay, so that was a dry run. We'll call that a dry run. That was the rehearsal. This one now is the live act. It's going to work. It's going to go perfect. There we go. That was even easier than the first time. Had a better grip on it now and not let it just twist off. Okay, so there we go. Are we ever going to see so much material as that in a throttle rod again? Never. I think in your car, your foot pedal's only attached to a big box of cables. Okay, so we have that out. Get our throttle rod, hopefully be able to thread this back up onto it. Hopefully have enough space, so I suppose we want to pull it out this way as much as possible. Failing this, there is another option. I do have another option. I can take off that lad. Okay. I need to get that down somewhere where I can turn this whole rod. I might move the camera there because I'm sure it's getting boring enough looking at, and you can't see what's going on. There, not better, I think. Well, let's say there, yeah. So that's what's happening there, right? I'm just twisting this here somewhere that I can twist it. Our lock nut is set to roughly where we have to be, and you can see that it's any wonder that spring was getting a little bit tensioned when you have all of this threaded rod going into it. Okay, and there we go. That's actually as far as that's going to go, I think. Okay, so we'll put it back here on the onto the throttle rod. I can see a problem up here already. Yeah. So we're going to have to go for a different version here. Okay, I had a feeling. So I've been looking at this for a good half an hour. The problem is now, this is meant to go in from the top, and it's not going to, I don't think. No, I don't think it's going to. I don't think. Might bring the camera down and have a look. If it doesn't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that attached, and I'm going to screw that out and screw it back in. There are ways and means. You have to keep the head. You have to keep the head, and you have to keep exmining. You have to keep thinking the whole time. It's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it's I don't know, how did I get that in there to show what I was doing there last night? There, not that better. It's not impossible, but you just sometimes have to really. Oh, will I get it? I will get it. There we go. So I said rubber, right? Ideally I was going to put a lock nut on top and on the bottom, but when I put one on the top, it pushed that threaded bar up too high and it stopped it going forward far enough to go into tick over. This isn't the original part. The original part should have that end, the same end as what's on down at the venturi there. But it's going to be perfect. It's going to work finest. I've made my own throttle rods out of them. I've bought new throttle ends and balls and whatever you want to call them, ball joints. But this will work perfect. It'll be snug. It was rattling around. This rubber washer and lock nut now is going to keep everything nice and snug. give a smoother kind of a feel to that throttle there instead of it. So I'm hoping anyway. So let's snug this up a little bit just so you can see exactly what's happening down below here. I want a nice full range of movement. I want it to tick over and I want it to be giving good revs as well. That's okay there. Okay, so let's lift up the camera and see what's happening. So let's turn it off till I get the camera lifted. I just want to show you what's going on in this Venturi, right? This is another one that I overhauled. Got all the free play out of it. It's tight as hell, like it's lovely, right? Shot blasted, could do with a lick of paint. This is your maximum rev adjuster, right? So this comes down here, right? And it hits off that, and that's your maximum rev adjustment, right? So when that's on maximum rev, this is the kind of shape. Where's my torch there? This is kind of where it's meant to be, right? So I thought it was meant to be, you know, perfectly straight and flat there. It's not. So stick my finger in there. It's just catching the top of my nail, and this is nearly there. It's not too bad, right? So we just need to get a little bit more adjustment on it, right? So what I can do is I can undo that and just give it a little adjustment, right? So we'll just sit the camera back, get her 7/16 and just give him a little loosen. I just loosen for that reason. So that's half a turn. That's about one turn. We'll see then, does that go anymore? And it does. Okay, so let's go another, see the hole through it, another half turn. Lovely. So that's definitely going to give full throttle there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that there for the time being. And I can set the maximum revs on this when I have this, when I'm testing it, right? I can do that myself. I think they're meant to be set to about 2,200 revs. To be honest with you, I never drive down the road fully lit. I like to sit there a little bit below, find a sweet spot. So I'm just going to lock that adjuster up there, and we'll be able to play around with that and adjust it to nice revs. Okay, that's all. Just good revs. So if you come into a hill, you can give a bit more fuel, but realistically, I would say not going too crazy. So now we have a better range of motion. So now we're in the tick over position there, and that is just, there's just a gee hair in under there of space, just enough just to allow the suction here. Well, actually what that does is it puts greater suction on the pipe coming there, so the diaphragm sucks it back. So we do need to have that fairly well closed there, so that's good. And our throttle rod is, you know, it's not too crazy far forward, so when we'll be going way up here, it's actually nice. And our full throttle there isn't getting in the way of this lad there, so that's good. I hate when they hit that, right? So we should have fairly good throttle there, full open. So yes, I think we are just about there. It might need a little bit of fine tuning on the full throttle, we'll say. I don't like these to be able to rev out crazy, personally. So let's tighten up the lock nut on it there. Try and lock it into place there. We can do all of this again. I'll probably test it without an air filter on first, so we can get into this fairly easy. This engine isn't like a petrol engine that, you know, if you have the air filter off, it affects the running of the engine, you know. The petrol engine will run leaner if there's no air filter. So make sure this is turned around, that's not going to click off again. Lovely, that's good. And then we can nip up under the dash here just a little bit more, since we most likely aren't going to need to be taking this off again. I want this to be, because the hand throttle was rattling around an awful lot, because this threaded rod is narrower than the hole. So at least with this rubber washer now, it it'll stop that. It's completely stopped, but I had to do it in my own 20 diesel. Okay, so it's not rattling now. Okay, it was like there was over and back. And when it stays where you put it, you know, nice, and it's a nice feel through it now. And I like that. I like the way it goes forward and comes back. That'll be your tick over. That means you're getting full push against that butterfly in there, closed, right? And that'll spring back then. That'll be your tick over. It's just a nice position for your hand, and your full throttle then, fully back, and then it'll just spring back forward. That's what you want. And then this move and not getting hit by it. So I'm happy with that. I couldn't actually be happier with that. Feels really good. Okay, so the next thing we need to fit is the throttle cross shaft there. So this is one that I've overhauled. It's all freed up. Grease nipples are taken out, ready for grease. They're all cleaned. Nice new ends on nice, good second-hand ends. You can't buy new ones. Shop blasted, all cleaned up, really free. That should be lovely with a bit of grease in it. So might be a little bit hard to see what's going on in there. So I might bring over the work lamp and see if we can shine a bit of light down there. Here's where we are working at now. So the engine stood there, right, and that has a nut on it. Meant to have a washer. We will soon rectify that. And then there is this coarse thread, 1/2 inch, right? So I'll just quickly go now and get a washer for this lad and I'll come back. We have to put this throttle rod down there. It has to kind of go towards the diesel pump, so it can be a little bit awkward to get that up. It's very important when you're fitting an engine as well to make sure that this, I remember fitting engines before, and this wasn't going above there. I was sitting down here and yeah, you have to go taking it off, and it has to be lined up nice and straight there to go to the back of the governor. Make sure that's good. Right, so now we have our washer, nice wide washer. We have our 11/16 nut, engine nut, and then we have this is missing a washer, so I'll get one and come back. Lovely, so now that'll just go down there. That's good. Another 1/2 inch there. I just want to check one thing first. I might just leave everything recording away there now as it is. I just want to put the throttle rod on there. Because the last thing I want is to be running into the same problem as we had. Things getting too far away to be handling them. Just try and find it. I had it out there a minute ago. Wherever it's gone. Come back when I find it, and just have that just fitted so that we're not going to be stuck with that there. So at least if it's loose, we can maneuver things a bit better. So what we need to do again with this, I think, is loosen these off a little bit. It's going to be hard to get the one underneath, so whichever one goes on handy, we'll put below, and then we're going to loosen the other one. We're going to put the other one down with the loose end, whatever you want to call it, end cap, I think is what we'll call it, right? That other, it's going to be hard for you to get in there, I suppose, considering I have to get in with a screwdriver, but whichever one comes out handiest is what we use for the top, because we won't be able to tighten it back in for the bottom. I might have to take out that part. It's not going to be that one anyway. That one was already after getting a bit of a buttering. So we'll just try this one here. And hopefully now this one will play ball. One of them should. No. Give it a big tap. And loosen up the threads. No. Sheesh. Yeah. It's just not happy, is it? Right, I'll try tighten it maybe. Will that be the thing to do? Get it sprayed from inside as well. Yeah, solid. Okay. That's the problem with these. They can just play ball or be a bit of a nuisance. So that's okay. We might be able to work with them. Might have to take the part out again. If it's struggling to go on top here, that I can take that off, put it into this throttle rod, and then thread that back in. I'm fairly sure I got all of them out. Yeah, I got all of them out anyway. We'll just try it for a fit. Some of them are fairly worn, like, you know, and they actually do go on fairly handy. There we go, there's one of them on. So that's the one on the top. I wonder will the one on the bottom go on as easy. So this can be the time consuming stuff. I wonder how they did in the factory back in the 50s, huh? Okay, so that's not going to work there. You can see the rippling in the light there already. So I might need to go the other side. Hopefully that doesn't start rippling. Got that wire in the way. Ah, you buy it. There you go. Just lucky. Okay, lovely. So let's go back. God, that's a satisfying click when it goes on. Completely over-engineered for throttle rods, like. And I think there's no brass in them. I think there was brass in the earlier ones, would you believe, in the Continentals. The throttle rods. Okay, so where are our bits? So we can now screw this down. Yes, satisfying stuff, lads. And I tell you one thing, you'll never see them fall off, that's for sure, when you hear the likes of that, like. Satisfying stuff. So that's there. Won't go over tight on that till I get the bolt, engine bolt in. Nice, and you can use a 3/8. It's just a little bit neater. Loosening. Lovely part, that, of the aluminium part. So now, when I put the diesel pump together, it's just going to be a matter of fitting the final end of that last throttle rod onto the back of the governor, we'll call it, and our throttle rods will be complete. Okay, that'll be ready for a dart of grease. I'll just get my spanner there and just turn that grease nipple around a little bit where I can get it. Lovely. Just have to tight snug fit. And that one too, I should be able to get in there. Yeah, we should be able to get them. Okay. So our throttle rod now down here, ready for action. And what I've done is, let's try and keep that light out of the way. I've left this on. I'm actually going to thread that into the back of the throttle lever on the governor. I find it's a lot easier to do that. Slow, but it's a lot easier. We have our crankcase breather blocked off there just in case any dirt went down. I have to get all that gunge out. Okay, so let's have a little look at this cross shaft there. Just make sure everything is turning nice and smooth. Let's hold that throttle lever out of the way. Lovely. Lift it up a little bit. Look at the back of the venturi. Over here. Everything's good. Okay. A little bit of to and fro there. That little bit there, so I might slide on something over that just to take up a bit, or I just loosen it, turn it to a fresh bit of metal as usually. What I did, I overlooked that. That's what I did. Let's try, you might be able to see that there now, what I'm going to do there. I'll bring over the camera with it. Turn it 3/8 by the look of it. Overlook that now. There you go. I'll show you there now what I'm at. So you can just probably see there's a little bit of wear. See that little bit of wear on it there? That was causing a little to and fro, back and forth there. I'll turn off that work light because what it's doing is blinding things. See a little bit of to and fro? Not it's going to make a whole lot of difference, but it just gives a little, let's give the throttle a nicer feel. If I can do a little job on that. And there's a screwdriver head on him there, right? So let's bring over that camera stand here. I have a feeling if I screw him out a little bit onto fresh metal, it'll be wider, be thicker, and it should, by rights, take up that free play. This is very kind of fine detail kind of stuff, but I do think it's going to make a difference. That was the only little bit of free play that I can feel in there. Just as the camera taking a dive. It is. That's okay. We can get it out, and we can get it out, because I have all this loosened up from before. So we'll let that out. Put on a lock nut. Hopefully that'll move. I think I freed all of this up. If not, hopefully I'll be able to get it out altogether. Just a little bit of surface rust on that. I'm pretty sure I freed all of that. Should be able to work that. Throw in our lock nut. Yeah, that's fairly tight now. There we go, it's just a little bit stiff on a thread or two, I'd say. I have a feeling this, if it doesn't work, this doesn't work, I'll just throw a bit of maybe heat shrink over it. And it'll just take up the little bit of free play, and of course the rubber then will should be a bit of squidge, a bit of give in the rubber then. This is fine detail stuff now. It's not going to be still a little bit free play in it. Let's give it a twisting and see if we can get it out. We can get it out. See where it's best. Yeah, I think it's just gone beyond this sorting it anyway. That's okay. I'll do is screw off the lock nut completely. We'll screw this out as far as it will go. Might be able to get it actually out completely now, actually. Get a bit of heat shrink put on it. There we go. Get a bit of heat shrink put on that. I'll space it up. The throttle will look a lot better. The throttle will function a little bit nicer. Real heavy plastic kind of a heat shrink, and I have a feeling this is going to do the trick just nicely. It's not like rubbery stuff at all. It's actually, it's fairly solid. So I have a feeling, tap him down, come to length, tap him down. I have a feeling this is going to sort things, and we'll still be able to put our screwdriver in when I have a cut in there. So I'll come back when I have that done. Okay. Okay. So that's going to work a little better, I'd say. Yeah. That's grand. I'm going to try that there, and if it works, I'll bring you over and we'll see how we get on with it. Right, I'll just try it there for a fit. It does seem to be nice. So it just needs to screw in a bit there. Locking it back out of the way. Is that going to pull in a little bit? So I'll screw this in to below that. I might just be able to tap that in a little bit there. Again, I've probably gone too far there, and let's get to 3/8. I thought it was there somewhere. Well, we might, if we don't see it, we'll use this just to loosen it back a little bit there. So let those threads go in further. I want to try and tap this rubber lad into the gap there if I can. If it'll go. A bit of jiggling with the throttle maybe. Yeah, I will, because it's solid enough, like it's not very rubbery, so you'll just screw this in, hit the lock nut there, loose off, and just give the throttle a little jiggle. That should make its way in there. How are we looking now? How do we have any free play? Not too bad. It's not bad, is it? Throttle is catching it. Okay. Definitely, after getting rid of a lot of the seesawing out of that, let's try and tap it down a little bit and see if that'll help. Yeah. The pin there just went down a little bit through it. Oh yeah, feels bloody lovely and tight. Oh yeah. I think I made that into a wedge pin, so it actually kind of pulls things in tighter as well. You get that. Oh God, that feels brilliant, lads. Wow, we're winning here, I think. Yeah, that feels 100%. Really, really nice. And that bit of free play in the throttle rod now is gone. It's gone. So there's our tick over, completely closed, and then that well open. Get the finger in underneath it, so you know that that is definitely doing its thing. And our final throttle rod is here, lined up and ready to go. I couldn't be happier with that. So now that I'm looking at it, new heater plug, we can stick a new heater plug into it. I'm delighted with those throttle rods now there. One of his complaints was that the throttle on it was just strange, not really doing what it was supposed to do, didn't feel good and all that. That doesn't feel like a great fit. Maybe that's for a 35 3-cylinder, isn't it? I'll have looked through my stock there and pick out one that fits. There we go. That one should fit. 15/16. And this one has the bolt-on ringlet connection, so I might have to change that to a ringlet. I don't mind doing that, I prefer the ringlets anyway. I think they make a better connection, bolted on as well, so that'll only be a couple of minutes to do that, so I'll do that just to have this right. And yeah, your bolt-on ringlets are the connections are a good idea. Lovely. That's okay. That'll bolt on there. Because we're bolt on, it will be able to keep it out of the way of the manifold. Not that the manifold is going to go burning wires or that, but that's good. Another part of it. No Kai gas system fitted as tractor. It's not going to be. It's going to be the 35 4-cylinder heater plug with the Kai gas tank piped straight gravity feed to it. So we can have to block up this where the injector is going to be. So I have made a little blank there out of the proper bolt and 5/8 9/16 washer there on it as well. So that's going to blank that up nicely. It's not going to look out of place. It's better than the big lump of pipe there, kind of crimped or whatever. So we'll go with that, and that will sort that. So that's another part done. What I might do, since we're here, is just put a ringlet on that. So I'll go and get the bits and I'll come back. Taking off the yellow kind of lad that goes around that. I'm going to use a bit of heat shrink, dead, and then so I'll be able to cut off that. You'll have enough there. Yeah, we've plenty. We should have plenty there, I'd say. Yeah, plenty there. So I'll cut that off. That's that gone. Right. Bit of tape on that. I'll try and pull that off as well. Lovely, nice thick wire. That'll feed the current we need. Okay. Right. So what size do we need on this? This is probably one of the bigger ones, I'd say. Yeah. Okay, it's good and tight. And that'll go on in there, so that's lovely. Heat shrink onto the wire. What size do we need? A bit bigger than that. Might need to consult my other box of heat shrink. See, does that do it? Yeah, that'll be nice. That's probably a bit overkill, but could have been a bit longer, but I think it'll I might run a bit of the automotive tape up to it. That's what I'll do. Okay. It's a little bit loose on it, actually, strange enough, even though the yellow one is what you would imagine it would be needed here. I'll go to the blue one so and just give it a final crimp. Now we're looking a bit better there. That's sort of crimping nice and neat. another little go for good luck, good measure. Lovely. So that'll go up there. That's grand. I may go and find a lighter now just to hit that, and we'll have a go then at connecting him up. Okay. It's a little bit thick, that heat shrink, but better that than too skimpy, I suppose. This will make a far better connection anyway, being bolted instead of push on. You know, you're at the mercy of the just sort of grabbing the heat shrink. I was trying to pull that back a bit. Don't want that getting dragged in there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's definitely going to make a good connection. So there we go. It's just nicely turned out of the way. That'll make a nice strong connection. We'll get all of this masking tape off, and I'll do a final run around with that nice automotive tape, and don't mind that there, but I'll run it back there, and might even cable tie a bit first and then tape over it. You know, that we have something a little bit more solid. Okay, so things are starting to tidy up here nicely. Where to next, I suppose, is the question. I can now think of one job that I can do. Look at it here. So our mushroom cleaner here goes on there, and then there's this, and this is meant to be onto a bracket to one side of the U-bend down here. So I'm going to have a look for a bracket that'll do that, because when I got the tractor this was all sticking out and all, so we'll try and tidy it up. Since we have that, this is all you get on the modern parts, is this sticking out. You don't get a nut, you don't get a bracket. So I think we'll go and tidy that up. Yeah, I'll try and find a bracket that'll suit this. Okay, so I had a look at my box of brackets, because you can't buy these new and you have to manufacture them. So I found a nice square lad here, so that'll go in there, and then actually this will go on first, that'll go on up in there, right? So that should work. It's not as long as I would like, but I will be able to put a lock nut both sides of that, and it will do the trick, something like that. So that'll definitely tidy that up. So this is only a part that doesn't have to go on yet, but I just knew or thought at least, that I was going to forget about doing it. So at least we have a bracket there, so I can just bring this other bit of the mushroom cleaner over to the vice now and see what sort of a thread this is. Is it metric? Is it imperial? And get some nuts and washers on that. Lock nut in here, and then another one in front of it, and washers each side of this, and we'll see then how it goes. Thankfully it's metric, I think. Someone has destroyed the thread of something. I'd say it's actually this rattling around, and the paint on it as well has actually, the threads are very bad at the start. I'd say it was probably from the vibrations rubbing against the exhaust and stuff. That's why it's important to have all this up and right. Okay, so that's that. We put a washer in here on one side here. Lovely. And what I might do for this as well is put in a rubber washer. This doesn't have to be solid, you know, it's only just to stop it rattling around a little bit, that's all. So there's going to be plenty of space, so I think the likes of a rubber washer there. I think that's what I put on my home one anyway. Something like that anyway. Just to take up a bit of, I might have to punch a bigger hole, but you know what, it'll work. Like, we'll thread it on if we have to there, you know. There'll be plenty of space on it there for it. And what I'll do is we'll bring up the, well, actually we don't need that washer on the other side of it there, actually, if we're going to using this. We'll bring up this, so it doesn't clean the old threads under, that's all. That's the only reason. Bring that up a bit and shove on our rubber lad here. and that'll go in there nicely, and it'll just give us a bit of room. Something like that, and we can adjust then once we have it all on. We can push that. We can push that bracket forward or back, depending on where it needs to be. So we'll just give a quick try fit and see. This is more of a finishing touch really, but sometimes it's nice just to take a break sometimes of doing the more bigger jobs, you know. So that's going to fit in there lovely. Okay. It will be a question over whether this pipe will line up, of course, so that's why we don't go locking everything up yet. I'll just put on this loosely in there so we don't lose it. Right, there's another issue here. So we're going to bring it back over to the vise, throw a jubbly around that, and we'll get this issue sorted as well, because that's only going to be rattling around the place as well. Okay, so I'll get the jubblies and come back. Right, small jubblies, exhaust clamp. So see if we can actually just rattle this off. Okay, it's fairly long, threaded bit. Anyway, see what we need. Nice stainless steel one on it, it won't rust, it shouldn't rust. Hide the blue bit then out of the way where it's not going to be seen, but where we can get to it. So that'll do nicely, I think. Keep that blue bit in underneath or something there, just so we can get to it. Line it up. Yeah. So I'm going to say that this part now is done. So we'll check this pipe here. It's a bit loose, so we'll take them off. Put a jubbly on him as well. Wise thing to do. Keep everything on nice and loose. That's not actually a great looking jubbly. If we can get it better, we'll do for stock. There's a nicer one there. Yeah, I think that's what we'll go for now. And sit that on there. Might have to loosen the jubbly off a bit, I think. Okay, sit her on up there. Push her in there out of the way. Get her sitting up in there. Let's get one more for this lad here. That was the one I had in the Ferguson actually, so we'll use that. It's perfect condition. So now our part is looking a little bit more complete. You won't see this, it's up under the, when the bonnet is closed. You will see this, so that at least we're tidying things up. What I'll do is I'll tighten that down and I'll run around there with a knife and I'll get that nice. Use this as a kind of template, get that nice and level. That'll be a finishing touch. But as far as everything else goes, that's a lot more functional now. We don't want dirt going in. We already saw the state of the intake manifold, so that's grand. I'll see what we'll do next after that now. Finishing A, I'm going to leave it there for this evening. I did get the parts that I ordered, like the thermostat and the fan belt has proven to be a little bit of a disaster to try and fit. I have to probably take off the alternator. And then I have a feeling that this is going, the adjustment starts from there, so I have a feeling that mightn't be a runner. I do have other ones of them in stock. Only involves taking out them 4 nuts off of that, off the pulley, and then you can get out the bolt. So I'll have a play around with that. It is the proper fan belt for a 20 diesel, but that's considering you have a dynamo on it. So we'll see what we have to do. This is 20mm. I do have a 17mm. That will definitely fit down there, probably a bit snugger and give me a bit more movement. If I'm stuck, I'll fit that. So it'll be a bit of messing around, a little bit here and there. When I was just trying the silencer there, this little bit broke off there, so I'm going to take that off again, put it on the vise. I'm going to cut that nice and clean, give it a nice chamfer in there with a file or with grinder heads on the Dremel, get it all nice and dressed up a bit. And well, I should have tried it for a fit on the silencer, so there was a little bit of surface rust there that was making it wider. So we'll have a play around with that and get that nice, and get the silencer fitting nice and tight on it. So I suppose this video we can call throttle rods, because that's what we did primarily. We've got everything working super smooth there now. The only thing that's catching is that final throttle rod there that's just sitting down here loose, is getting caught on it, that bolt there. So we just, apart from that, everything is hunky-dory, tightened up, buttoned up, nice and smooth, no free play. It should be a nice throttle response. So, getting there slowly. So we'll see in the next one, and it'll probably be going through some of them parts, I think, that came in the box there. So until then, Slán Tamil, I'm sure we'll catch you.